All right, guys. So we reached that part of the week where we tell you what we screwed up, and we hope we're not the only ones that have ever done it. So here's your Tuesday morning tech tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. All right, guys. So this week's tech tip is brought to you in part by our new Oldsmobile, right? Well, it's not new. It's like an 84, but you get it, right? So project car we haven't done nothing to yet. A buddy of mine gave it to me, and what the hell, right? So you will be seeing some content coming up on that. And this is like a plug for that, I guess, too. But I was like, hey, let me move this thing, right? And so I jump in it, right? And I forget what I do half the time. So I got nothing. Turn the key, nothing. That's when I remember, oh, that's right. We stole the battery out of it to mess with the Chevy in the shop. So now I got to go over here, get that, and, put it in. And it's not very difficult, but this is just step one of what went wrong of me trying to move this thing. I'll show you the rest. All right, so now we have the extremely difficult task of battery installation taken care of, and we get in it, right? Got the old key here, and let's see. Nothing. Well, we got something. It just cranks forever and ever and ever. So immediately I'm like, you know what? He said the throttle was messed up and the carb wasn't right and all this stuff. So let's just dig on in right here and start seeing what's wrong in this region here, because, I mean, we know it's not the right one. Well, we know it's not the stock one. That's in the trunk. And we got, like, this is, and this is not really an good carb, but the installation may need something to be desired, right? Let's jump on into it. Nah, guys, let's not jump on into it. I'm going to flip you guys around and show you why we shouldn't. All right, guys, so go ahead and take a good look at this instrument cluster, and I'll show you why we shouldn't as I turn on the key. Yep, you saw the gas gauge go all the way to E, right? Yeah. So what do you guys think the problem really is? I think I got to figure it out. All right, so we threw some gas in it, dumped a little bit in the carb because, well, we've been using that battery, and I might have blown up my charger, so we don't want to make this harder. We'll see how we're working out. All right, well, the gas gauge still is, I guess it just doesn't work, but simplest stuff first. And one more for good measure, right? Well, there you go. Well, guys, pretty easy one this week, right? You would think, but it's been screwed up before. I'm going to tell you a story. Well, maybe three, who knows. But back 2005-6 time frame, I had an 84 Grand Prix. Loved the car. Megan absolutely hated it. So it was my daily driver, and I'd shoot from Carolina up to Oceana, Virginia, where I worked on the base there, every day, right? Me, my buddy Chip, Brandon, we'd shoot up. Car was great. Third gear worked when I wanted to, but other than that, it was great. I fill it up, and I go to the boat, right? We're gone like a month. Come home, jump in the car, shoot to work. We're coming through the gate, like the back gate there is like a long stretch, and it dies. I'm like, Won't start, won't start, won't start. Not getting fuel. Okay. Now, this was not like a pristine car. My dad had bought it and gave it to me because the town was on him. He wanted the wheels and seats out of it. But it wasn't a bad car, right? But then the city was on him to get it out of the driveway because it didn't have tags, so I went and picked it up, and there was a whole thing. My brother did some wiring on it. Yeah, you remember that. But that's what happened, right? So here I am, sitting with this car. Me and Chip actually sitting there trying to figure out how to get it going. I'm like, you know what? We dumped some fuel in it. It fires. I'm like, fuel pump. We changed the fuel pump. No, not working. What the hell, man? So I call Megan and I'm like, yo, need you to come, get the truck and trailer, come pick me up, after work or whatever, this thing's done. Excuse me, I'm still a little, So she's like, okay, that's weird. It drove fine the whole time you were gone. I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. She's like, it gets way better gas mileage. She had like a Dodge Ram 4-wheel drive truck at the time. So and it was the one of the last in the driveway, so I just drove it while you were gone. This is when I found out the gas gauge didn't work. It was still reading full when I got in the car. And she really wasn't paying too much attention to it. She didn't work that far, So I was like, you serious right now? So, borrowed my buddy's Jeep. He had a gas can, because Jeep guys usually have gas cans. And we put some fuel in that thing, and guess what? Fired right up. The fuel pump was probably fine. I kept it in the trunk in case I need another one. But yeah, that's a true story. And now, in my defense, the gas gauge, it worked when I left. And during that time it stopped. It's obviously a huge coincidence. It's my story, and I'm sticking to that, all right? But yeah, so me and Chip were like, are you serious, man? Both fancy ourselves mechanics, right? And that's what we just did. And I don't know if I like it, but I'm a little happy to know, sweaty, that we're not the only two that did it. So I had a buddy of mine who, he had a Dodge Neon. It happens. It happens, all right? And he's like, man, this thing, I can't get it to get running, man. I don't know what's going on. So he's like, yeah, I got to change the fuel pump, I think. He did some trouble. He's a good mechanic. He did some troubleshooting. And I said, dude, you got gas in it, right? Because this was like right after the whole Grand Prix incident. And he made fun of me like crazy. And I'm like, you checked for the gas. He's like, get out of here, dude. He's like, it's got over quarter tank gas in it. Okay. Changes his fuel pump. It's in the tank, right? So he goes and drops the tank to find out it's empty. So, and his gas gauge didn't work either. These things happen, right? Same guy. Same guy. He's we're on deployment, and somebody was turning an F-18. Turning it means running the motors, right? And we're on the flight deck, and it's just, it's like, what the hell? Had fuel. Well, at least that's what it read. So he's like, man, what the heck's going on? They start troubleshooting all this stuff and everything, and okay. They ended up changing an APU, which is like a starter, right? I forget exactly the whole thing of it, but I was only up there for the second part. So how they got into this, I'm not 100% sure. I guess so. Maybe they weren't turning it. Maybe they went to, yeah, that's what it was. They went to turn it and it wouldn't start. So and finally, they're like, what the hell? They change the APU. Different guy gets in there, turn it, checks the fuel load, and he's like, dude, this thing's got 600 pounds of gas in it. You got to have at least 1,200 to start it. Problem, right? Same guy about 3 or 4 months after his whole Neon incident. Luckily, I was there for that one too. So even though he got me on the first one and broke my chops forever, happened to him twice. So what I'm telling you guys is, and these are trained F-18 mechanics that did that, right? My thing was just, 2 hacks and a beat up old hoopty. So the thing I'm trying to say is, look at the simple stuff first. I seriously was going to dive into the carb when I realized, you know what? Norm did say this thing has about a gallon of gas in it when he gave it to me. And I've driven it around the property here a little bit. So Check that. Easiest stuff first, guys. Don't make mountains out of molehills because you're always going to open a can of worms that you don't want to open. I have no more analogies, so thanks for watching, guys.